Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Tailgate Season 1 finale, Episode 15 to be exact. I am Bryson Carver. I'm joined by my guys, Tim Barnard and Arthur Hurst. First of all, before we get into anything, this is the first time that the BTA Trio has been in studio in, 2 months? It's been forever. We've had migraines get in the way, travel schedules, holidays, all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's great to have everybody back here for our season finale. Tim, start with you. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. Good to be back. Yes, you're right. Travel schedules, migraines, everything, was a part of the issue. But you know what the other big part of the issue was, why we're not all back? This effing schedule lasted all the way till middle of January. We had nothing to talk about for 3 weeks straight because we're going to talk about the freaking Pop-Tart Bowl? Give me a break. So, that's blame the college football schedule more than what we dealt with.
There's a lot of issues with the playoff schedule, not just with or the college football schedule, not just related to the playoff, but related to situations like Kiffin and whatnot. Arthur Hurst is joining. Arthur, listen, a Big Ten school won the national championship for the third year in a row. So, mixed feelings for you with Ohio State not winning it, or what's going on there?
Nah, man, it has the power of the college football landscape has officially shifted to the Big Ten. I'm not even going to lie. I forget about Michigan winning it so much. When you said 3 straight, I'm like, it was us, them. I'm like, who else? I'm like, oh, Michigan did win. That's how bad that team was. To be honest with you, they're not remembered at all. And I'm not talking about
Ohio State.
I was about to say, yeah, that's the rivalry coming up.
I'm just being completely honest. We're seeing what J.J. McCarthy is doing in the NFL. Blake Corum is right now playing behind, who was that? Community Vidal?
Williams.
So, and then you got Harbaugh, and then you got them not making the playoffs. That Michigan team is definitely forgotten in the grand scheme of things. But yes, the Big Ten right now is owning college football, and I'm happy to be back with you guys. Time has flown by, season 1 finale. But yeah, man, those few weeks that was dead, I was just like, dang, I kind of miss my guys.
I know, man. We had a nice schedule going on here, and then like I said, holidays got in the way. We'll try and get everything tightened up before next season. But this was a great first season. But let's do the show today because Indiana's now, because everybody predicted this, everybody expect this going into the season, that the Indiana Hoosiers would be your national champions in the 2025-26 season. So I'll start, since you're the Big Ten Arthur, I'll start with you. Biggest takeaway from the game, obviously, Fernando Mendoza with the play of the year in college football on 4th down. Miami fought their guts out into the final, final whistle. Carson Beck throwing the pick late. Reaction to Indiana beating Miami and being national champions in 2026.
Fernando Mendoza is going to be the #1 pick. Carson Beck needs to go ahead and just go to the NFL, which he's going to do. But geez Louise, dog, you are a grown man amongst boys. You old as hell. He was in C.J. Stroud's class. Do you know how crazy that is? He was in C.J. Stroud's class, dog. Go to the NFL, bro. I'm sorry. I'm getting so sick and tired of this stuff. Curt Cignetti, coach of the year. No doubt about it. 2nd year in that program. Undefeated season. Yeah, man. They earned it, right? They earned it. And watching Fernando Mendoza continue to update his LinkedIn profile and stuff, he better not have a bad NFL game, or else that picture of him saying open to work is going to be shown every single Monday. I'm being serious, man. We can laugh, but dude, hey, there's pros and cons to everything. And the trolling games that fans will have on him is going to be legendary in his rookie season and just moving forward. But IU definitely deserved it. Credit to the offense and defense for doing what they had to do. Well-fought game by both teams, but at the end of the day, IU made the plays that they needed to. Miami was not, and IU is your national champions.
Thoughts on this game, Tim? Because I know you were a Miami hater throughout this entire season. The playoff, they fought hard, but obviously Indiana was the better team.
Yeah, freaking finally Miami lost. I mean, they should have lost against A&M at the
Kyle Field.
Kyle Field. Jeez, I forgot about that. They should have lost there. But again, A&M are frauds. And then Arthur, your Ohio State Buckeyes screwed me. I mean, they just let Miami, who is a fake good team, go all the way to the national championship team. I mean, let's be honest. So, and like you said, Carson Beck was in C.J. Stroud's class. What makes it worse was that a-hole had the gall to go into his press conference before the Natty and say that, when asked about going to class, he goes, I haven't gone to class in 2 years. Then get the hell out of college, you bum. Like, what are we doing? That was arguably, like, I couldn't have hated Miami more, but then he said that, and I found a way. So it's just like, holy cow, like that stuff bothers me. And then we just found out the Miami linebacker there is staying for his 8th college year. Like, why don't we do
that's
that?
messed up.
Can we stop with these 6 to 8 college years? Like, come on.
Same class, I'm pretty sure, as Garrett Wilson. And it feels like Garrett Wilson has been in the league for a long time.
This is like Garrett Wilson's 5th year in the NFL or something.
Yes,
yeah, he's on his 2nd contract.
Dude,
yeah.
It just goes to show you, man, we're in a different landscape, and it's ugly, it's nasty. I don't like it. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, for sure. I think ultimately the thing is with. I've said this for a while. College football needs a commissioner. I mean, it does. Like, you can't just have the president of the NCAA running all the sports and paying the same attention to college football that he does, college rowing. Nothing against the rowers out there, but
the NCAA is a joke and always has been.
No, it always has been. It always has been.
The worst thing is, like, if you go back to the history of college sports, especially college football, it was the Big Ten that screwed everything. The Big Ten was the first conference founded. And all the athletic directors back then, where it was just everything, all the schedules and everything were from the students, by the students. Then the Big Ten is like, ooh, we can get in on that. That's going to be beautiful. Give me some of that money. Come on. And then the Big Ten was founded. Next thing you know, we're here, and it sucks. The NCAA is a joke.
Yeah, it's always been a joke. Management, everything. It's terrible.
If they were ever to do a commissioner, besides Nick Saban, who would we want to be commissioner?
Josh Pate.
I would vote Josh Pate. Yeah, I would. No,
okay. We're all locked in. We're all locked in. I agree.
Yeah,
the only thing, because I just watched his video again on like how he would save the college football season. The only thing about having those bowl games Thanksgiving weekend is the NFL has that Thanksgiving weekend. So,
but first that was conference championship during Thanksgiving weekend. But secondly, who would be actually a really good conference commissioner, or the college football commissioner? Rick Neuheisel.
Oh, okay. That's
Rick
interesting.
Neuheisel, I think it could be a sneaky good commissioner for college football, especially with his idea of making all the lesser tier bowl games the opening weekend of college football.
I'm not against that whatsoever. I think that would be better for the sport. But
because think about it, you have all the week 0 or week 1 games where they're at like Atlanta and all the other New Orleans, all that stuff. Okay, that's opening weekend, but it's only like a handful of games. Why not just do the bowl games right there? And that's proposal. I thought that was brilliant.
And by the way, there's more eyeballs in that because it's kind of like the appetizer to the main course of the college season. Like, yeah, I think that makes sense. But going back to Indiana, though, my main takeaway from this game is this will go down as the greatest rebuild in the history of college football. You cannot emphasize enough. The 3 years prior to Curt Cignetti's arrival, Indiana won 9 football games. All right, they were 0-10 against top 25 teams. They averaged around like 20 points a game. Now Curt Cignetti, they've lost twice, and that goes back to last season, the playoff loss to Notre Dame. 60, like I forget if it was Dan Lanning or if it was Steve Sarkisian, one of the young, excellent coaches in college football. One of them said, like, okay, now with the conference realignment, NIL transfer portal, 12-team playoff, no one's going to go undefeated. Like it can't happen. And Indiana did it and did not trail the entire playoff when doing so against the likes of Alabama, against Oregon, and I mean, made Oregon look like an FCS program for big stretches of that game. And Oregon's an excellent team. And then obviously gets Miami in the national championship, basically playing, I don't want to say a road game because there was a lot of Hoosiers fans there. To their credit, they traveled down to South Beach, but it was definitely a matter of this was the best team from start to finish. And for Curt Cignetti to take over this program, I said on my show last week that we think about eras in in sports, in entertainment, in politics, whatever the case may be, how certain individuals own a certain era. Nick Saban owned the previous era when it comes to, it was a defense first sport, run game first sport. He evolved to when it was a quarterback first sport, when it was Jalen Hurts to Bryce Young, Mac Jones. Now it's Curt Cignetti's sport where it's, okay, NIL transfer portal plays right into what I'm good at. And now, I mean, I didn't even know he was associated with the university, Mark Cuban. I saw him at the game. It's like, well, there's some more NIL money. That's going to change things for Indiana. So if they're able to win a natty kind of easily with 3 4-star recruits, what are they going to get once they start, crushing recruiting year after year? So
the one thing I will
this
say,
team's not going anywhere.
The one thing I will say about this game that going into it had me a little worried was watching all the college football history and documentaries and everything, and remembering the Miami teams of old when the national championship was played at the Orange Bowl, and them having that mantra of we're not losing at home. When LSU in 03 under Nick Saban played at the Sugar Bowl for the national championship, they were like, we're not losing in New Orleans. That was my only fear. Like, not to say that, I was afraid Indiana would lose, but it just had one of those, like, of course it's played here in Miami. Miami snuck in or cheated their way in, which, again, what else is new? No, but honestly, though, but yeah, that was the only fear that I had, where I was like, oh, like, because you brought up the crowd noise and all of that, so that's why that made me think of that.
Yeah, for sure. And that was, it's one thing for a team to have the national championship game in their home stadium. It's another where it's the team that's the 1 seed against the 10 seed is kind of the road team in this situation, which I think they did let Miami even go to their own home locker room, which, back in the days when the Lakers and Clippers used to share staples, like they would go to the opposite locker rooms if they were on the road. But regardless, listen, I think, again, Indiana's going to be here to stay for some time. And what Curt Cignetti did was, he's going to be this generation Saban. I think I don't think there's any question about it.
The one thing I hope with Curt is that he doesn't fall for the big programs.
I don't think he wants to leave, Tim.
No,
I really don't.
Well, again, it's year 2. He just signed a massive extension. I'm not saying that he's going to leave. I'm just saying that, let's say 3-4 years down the road, all of a sudden, a big school comes out and is just kind of like, hey, Curt, we want you, please, come play for us. We'll give you whatever you want, or come coach for us. We'll give you whatever you want. Like, I just hope that, to him, Indiana's kind of like, I'm done, with Saban at Bama, Urban at Ohio State, kind of like, I'm here. This is it. I'm done. Like, I don't need to go anywhere else. This is my school. And
let's not forget something else about Cignetti that's kind of gone under the radar is that, he brought James Madison from an FCS to an FBS school. So James Madison, we can debate about whether it should have been him based on the rules, but James Madison being in the playoff is a direct result of Curt Cignetti setting that foundation when he was there, when they were an FCS program. So no, he's far and away the best coach in college football. No question.
And not for nothing, James Madison had more of a right. I will fight to the death that James Madison has more of a right to be in the college football playoff than 7-5 Duke.
Oh yeah, no question.
Based on the new rules and everything. So,
before we get into that, I did want to say, because Arthur was talking about Fernando Mendoza as the runaway number 1 pick. Would you agree with that, Tim? Like, I feel like it's kind of especially now that Dante Moore pulled out of the draft. I feel like it's kind of a foregone conclusion.
You thought Dante Moore still was going to be the number 1 pick, even if Mendoza went?
Listen, Mel Kiper and other draft prognosticators were saying like it's on the board.
Oh, please, Mel Kiper.
I'm just telling you what the experts were saying, Tim. I'm just reporting the news.
Respect to them
over Mel Kiper first.
Respect to Mel Kiper and all of them, because they've done this and they've been here. Fernando Mendoza solidified himself with winning the Heisman Trophy and winning the national championship. Great season for Dante Moore and the Oregon Ducks. Fernando Mendoza doing this was going to make him the number 1 pick.
Oh, without a doubt. I think the fact that, like you said, won the Heisman, won the Natty, and not for nothing, yes, we had our discussion, and even though I think a part of me wanted Pavia to win the Heisman just to rub it in your face, Bryson, but listen, I was very happy for Mendoza.
Great kid.
You couldn't have given the Heisman, I think, to a better kid. This kid, the way he is and how he feels about, his Catholicism and everything, he's almost like Tim Tebow in a way, but he seems a little bit more, I guess you want to call it normal. I think that's weird to say, but regardless, you couldn't have given the Heisman to a better kid. You couldn't have had an undefeated season at Indiana happen to a better kid. And without a doubt, like I told you going into it, going into the Heisman, that Penn State game was the Heisman moment. That throw, that catch in the back of the end zone, the foot tap, that was the Heisman moment right then and there. And anybody who thought anyone else was going to win, no, that just wasn't going to happen. And even during the Natty, we were texting, and Fernando Mendoza had another Heisman moment with that run to score the late touchdown. 2 Heisman moments in a season. Without a doubt, Mendoza's the number 1 overall pick. No question.
And here's the thing I love about Mendoza too, because again, you were sort of alluded to. People get on and he's kind of a corny interview. Regardless, it's we've seen great quarterbacks not necessarily have the presence of. I
just think it was hilarious. His high pitch after he won the Big Ten championship. He's like, "I give all the glory to God." It's funny.
It was great.
It was hilarious.
It's great, but the thing that it's the classic wolf and wolf in sheep's clothing, where it is.
But
this kid takes
in a good way.
In a good way, this kid takes hits, man. I mean, think about the first play of the Big Ten championship game. We thought he was knocked out for the game against Ohio State. It's oh my gosh, this comes back in and plays excellent. And then he was taking some cheap shots by Miami early on. I could not believe they didn't call roughing the passer when he blowed up his lip. Yeah.
Because, again, the referees wanted to keep that game close. They wanted to keep Miami in it. This was all rigged in Miami's favor. Obviously, they wouldn't even be in there had the committee actually done their freaking job. So, not getting back onto that hype train, but I'm just saying, it was blatant. And
they missed a lot of calls earlier.
Yeah. Hey, listen. One, that Miami defense though is for real.
It's legit.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey, them two getting off the edge. That's terrifying for a quarterback, number 1. But number 2, Tim, you always talk about Miami being in and stuff like that. Are you okay? Which one do you think is more egregious? Them letting Miami in, or them letting Alabama stay where they were after getting their doors knocked off by Georgia and the Chiefs?
They're one and the same. They're one and the same, because what would happen is because they dropped BYU, they dropped Ohio State, even by 1 spot. If they drop them by 1 spot, that creates the separation between Notre Dame at 9, Miami at 11, with Bama being at 10 now. And they realized if they did that, they would not be able to compare Notre Dame to Miami like the whole country was talking about. And that is why they kept Bama at 9, compared Notre Dame and Miami, and then fell back on Miami did beat Notre Dame. So
head-to-head's the first thing they look at, though, Tim.
Huh?
I said head-to-head's the first thing they look at, though, in these tiebreakers.
I understand that, and we're all sports guys. We all understand head-to-head is a crucial matchup. No 2 ways about it. I am just saying, though, had they dropped Bama like they should have.
Oh, they should have dropped, yeah.
Then that is why Notre Dame didn't get in. And that, like I said, it's not that one is more egregious than the other. It's that they coincide with one another.
For sure. No, I get that. There's a lot of issues. Let's just shift right into the new playoff format. So
let's bash more directors and college football commissioners. I love it.
100%. So, okay. Now the way that it goes is if Notre Dame's in the top 12, automatic bid, because they're obviously not in a conference. Join a conference, it's 2026. Regardless, Notre Dame's in the top 12, they get in. If you win a conference championship game in the Power 4, you are automatically in. That means, first of all, James Madison would have been out, which that wouldn't have caused us any lack of sleep. However, that would have meant Miami would have been left out for Duke, for 8-5 champion of the ACC, the Duke Blue Devils, to get into the college football playoff. Listen, I had an issue a couple of years ago where it was, okay, if you win your conference, automatic bye. Didn't love that. They changed that, agreed. But now it's, again, the group of 5 situation where you had 2 get in because the ACC was terrible. Like, if one of y'all go. Arthur, you want to go on this one? Because this is lunacy to me. This might be the worst format yet.
What the college football playoff has turned into is basically the NBA All-Star game. The difference is that these guys are actually playing for a national championship, and the All-Stars, they're on a break, right? But the fact that you can't just get it right, get something consistent, it feels like we're changing something every single year. It doesn't need to happen. When we need to focus on is just making sure that this season is wrapped up by the start of the new year, so that everything that these coaches and players want to do during the offseason can actually happen, and happen without the drama, happen with some business and professionalism and stuff like that. But there's no need to change it again. There's no need to make it more cute or whatever, because again, I don't want to see 8-5 Duke get their doors blown off. I really don't. Okay, they played their butts off their entire season. Played well in the ACC, but I don't want to watch them get their doors blown off. I don't want to see James Madison get their doors blown off. I don't want to see that happen to these smaller schools. I really do want to see the best 12 schools in the national championship. And Notre Dame, I'm sorry, they're pissing me off because you're making Marcus Freeman look bad. At the end of the day, he's the head coach. He's the face that everybody knows immediately. Oh, okay. There's Rudy, and then there's Marcus Freeman, the coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He's going to take the blunt and the blame and all the blows of all the BS that you guys are putting out about yourselves. Just join a conference. It's that freaking easy. But no, y'all pump too much money into that university from, a certain overseas place. But there's no need for it, dog. You're just adding to the BS of it because y'all feel entitled and y'all feel like y'all deserve this. No, just go earn it like everybody else does throughout the season.
Tim, thoughts on the new playoff format? I imagine you're not a fan.
So, listen, as I just said, I would have rather James Madison, who actually put in a better performance than Tulane did, over a 7-5, 8-5 Duke team. That is probably the most egregious thing I have ever heard of. This is when I first read that, my initial thought was the Power Four is not anywhere close to NFL division winners like they want it to be. So in other words, when 7-9 Seattle, which back in 2010, everybody was losing their collective minds, being like, oh my God, a team with a losing record is hosting a home game because they won the NFC West back when the NFC West was a trash division. They hosted the reigning champion New Orleans Saints. And what happened? Marshawn Lynch ran all over their ass and beat the reigning champion. A 7-9 Seattle Seahawks, 2010 7-9 Seattle Seahawks is not the same thing as a 7-5 Duke team. This is not the same. Division winners, conference winners, however you want to frame it, is not the same. The reason why this should have been the initial it should have been initially like this from the get-go was, as I've said a number of times on this show, you had the Power Five back when the Pac-12 was still around and still had USC, Utah, Washington, Oregon, all of them. Now without them, all of those schools jump ship to the Big Ten. Stanford now plays in the ACC for some effing reason. So now it doesn't make sense because Clemson sucks. Miami is overrated and frankly didn't even earn a spot in their own conference championship for some freaking reason because of how the ACC tiebreakers fell. And Florida State, well, another trash ACC school. Who else is in the ACC that actually matters? SMU? They had one good year last year, and you want to call that good? Please. So the problem is conferences are not the same. Back when you had Clemson and Florida State and Miami is like the top tier of the ACC, you also had Ohio State, Michigan as the top tier of the Big Ten. You had Alabama and Georgia as the top tier of the SEC. You had the Pac-12, whereas USC and Oregon every other year with Utah coming in there, and they were legit. That's the thing. They were legit freaking teams. You know, there were legit teams in every single conference. Now we don't have that. Now, basically, the legit teams are in the Big Ten. So why do I want a college football automatic bid to go to all Power 4 schools when you have a 7-5 Duke team based on the tiebreakers fall that way? It is absurd. And it just goes to show, again, how athletic directors, conference commissioners, and all these freaking old people who are running sports do not give a damn about what is good for the sport. They care about the money in their pocket that, guess what, is not going to be in their bank account for very long anyway, because money's only good here. That's it. So spare me on this nonsense. And then to get to the Notre Dame thing, just listen. Everyone gets so wound up about Notre Dame. Why do we care anymore? Notre Dame is still a top brand in college football, whether anyone likes it or not. They still are making millions upon millions of dollars from television companies, especially NBC, who give them the right to have their own game shown every single week. They don't need to split that money up at all. And that's what all the conferences would have them do if they were to join. And the problem is now that Notre Dame is pissed off at the ACC because the ACC was petitioning Miami to get in over Notre Dame this past college football playoff rather than Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame and the ACC have a six-game window that they, in order to be competitive, or be in the running for the college football playoff. So, and listen, I don't know how they decide which ACC teams they play or not, but they have played Jameis Winston's Florida State. They have played Dabo Swinney and Deshaun Watson's Clemson, throughout the years. It's not like they play every single bum of the ACC every single time. They play, not always, but some years they do play legit ACC teams when it comes to fruition. Now, Arthur, I do have a question. What did you mean Notre Dame is accepting money from where? And if this is a story, then I haven't heard of it yet.
Oh, no. The Vatican helping out. The Pope.
Oh, all right. The Vatican.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah. They got to.
Hey, there's nothing. You know what? The Vatican might be helping, but Notre Dame screwed themselves when they covered up touchdown Jesus. So true. They haven't won since they covered up touchdown Jesus. Just saying. But
what he said.
Yeah, I do want to say though, when it comes to it, it just, I don't like, unless the Big Ten, which I would love to see Notre Dame in the Big Ten. I think that would be really fun and legit. To
talk about a conference if they had Notre Dame. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, to also reinstate the Notre Dame-Michigan rivalry would be electric. But again, to me, this whole Notre Dame thing is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Like it's year after year after year. And Marcus Freeman, hey, he did it. Like it's not just him. It's the entire team, and I'm glad they didn't go to a bowl game this year. Everyone was so butthurt over that, and I'm like, no, You know what? Good, because we have put such an emphasis on making the college football playoff that why am I going to belittle myself and go to the Pop-Tart Bowl, like the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Ooh, I got a Duke Mayo ring. Look at that. Like, no, it's
the Xbox Bowl trophy looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Go ahead, Arthur.
No, it definitely does look nice. But that's the problem, though, with expanding it to a 12-team playoff is that you got all these schools who still are like, nah, I'm good. It's the same thing in college basketball when teams don't make March Madness and they say, yeah, I'm not going to the NIT tournament. It's like, dog, like you still are playing for something, but the bigger goal that, like you said, that's been emphasized. Yes, I get you're not playing for it, but it's like you still get to crown champion or something. Like, go do that. And it's like, nah, we're good. And that's where I remember the Raw Room was talking about that like months and months and months ago. Like the essence of it is just lost. It's like, why would I worry about this bowl game, or why would I care about it when I'm missing out on the fourth prize?
Nobody's been worried about bowl games for years. And again, a lot of these kids, when you go to Notre Dame, part of going to Notre Dame is you're going to go to the NFL. Like, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
So, and again, what if, okay, they do play at the bowl game? Then what? Half their team sits out because they have the NFL draft projections? And are we going to sit there and still bash them for that? No, we're not. Like, it's the same thing. And first of all, many other, like, let's be fair here. Many other schools in college football this season backed out of their bowl games. So it wasn't just Notre Dame. The only reason why we're talking about Notre Dame is because of the college football playoff controversy, all of that. I get that. I'm just saying, though, with what Notre Dame did, I think is okay. I think it's fine because they stuck up for themselves when guys like myself who looked at what happened between Alabama, Miami, and the college football committee and realized Notre Dame got screwed here. Now, if you eliminate all the Tuesday shows and then you had Miami get in, all right, I don't think we're creating a controversy. Otherwise, this is the thing that really just bothers me, where it's like, no. Like, Notre Dame got screwed, and I'm glad they didn't play in the bowl game because now they stuck up for what they believe in. And it wasn't Marcus Freeman who decided that. He let the seniors and players come to that for themselves, and Marcus was like, you know what, 100%, we're not playing. So
the point that both of you guys made about the playoff in Notre Dame and the lack of emphasis on bowl games and the how they've just depreciated in value over time is why we're eventually going to have a 2014 playoff. Now, whether we like it or not, I think that's ridiculous. I'm with you, Arthur. I agree. But
don't wish that.
I'm not wishing. I listen. I think 12's a perfect number. Let's get the 12 right before we freaking double it.
Okay.
Of course,
don't wish it. Don't even put it in the atmosphere. Don't even say it out loud. Make it sound like it's the boogeyman. Don't even say it. Like, I'm being for real because then it comes to a thing.
He
like,
shall not be named.
Yeah, he should.
What are we like, dude? What are we doing this for, man? No.
Other.
Because then, okay. So if you expanded to 24 teams, now we're going to end in what? February? March? No, bro. No.
This world go around.
Listen.
No, because now you're really going to be stepping on the NFL's toes.
Well, first of all, the NFL kind of steps on their toes at times too. So let's not.
True.
Let's not say that.
But we all know. Hey, I can step on my toes. You can't step on my toes. I'm not going to allow you to step on my toes.
I agree.
No.
I think first of all, before we settle the college football playoff, well, that's not what I mean. Before we create any of these new rules that we just discussed with the Power 4, Notre Dame, and all of that, we need to figure out what is our college football bracket look like. Is this a bracket where we want a group of 5 schools to participate, which legally that's a whole different discussion, Do we want lower tier D1 schools to go against the best of the best and kind of create kind of like an opening weekend of March Madness? Or do we want the best of the best? If we want the best of the best, that means we want the top 12 teams regardless of Power 4 standing. Now, if you're a SEC champion with one loss, if you're a Big 10 champion with one loss, if you're a Big 12 champion with one loss, and even an ACC champion with one loss, fine. There you go. There, you're in. How? That's a whole different story. Otherwise, you're in. But we cannot have a 7-5, 6-6, 8-4, or no, 8-4, Power 4 champion as an automatic bid. It is ridiculous and stupid. But this is the problem that those morons in the upper echelon created because they don't care about college football like we do. They care about the bucks, about the money, about the television revenue. And to them, the more teams, the better, because that's just how it's going to work. But this is the problem when you have those bums running schools, running college football committees. They don't care. They have been compromised. Their purity. This is why I'm wearing white. Purity is gone from sports. Like, get out of here.
I like the symbolism in Tim's fashion. I appreciate that.
And
kudos to you.
Another pure. Snow.
Well, especially with what's going on around the country with the winter storm right now. Yeah.
What snow we talking about?
Easy. I saw that little jab there, you know.
but regardless, listen.
We're a family-friendly show, damn it.
We're a family-friendly show.
I didn't even say anything. I just asked a question. Okay. Speaking of which, hang on. I do have to blow my nose. I'm getting a nosebleed. 1 second. I'm getting a nosebleed. Oh, hang on.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That's like Jesse Ventura. I'm asking questions.
This is second place to our South Carolina Gamecocks discussion from a few months ago. That was oh god, that was funny. No, but again, we just want to see the best teams in the tournament. I think that's the baseline. I like I said when the playoff controversy began between Miami and Notre Dame after it was announced, I said the playoff controversy should have been BYU, Vanderbilt, Texas. That should have been the discussion. I guess it would have been BYU. I would have disagreed with that, but like that would have been a fun kind of back and forth. Let's compare resumes. But the other 11, yeah, those are the 11 best teams in the country where it doesn't feel that way. And I feel like the powers continue to be stripped away from the top programs in this regard. The teams that this to me puts less incentive on scheduling tougher out of conference games. That was to me the whole appeal of the 12-team playoff is that you can have one, even two hiccups. And so Ohio State 2 years ago got in, and ran the table. But to me, it defeats the purpose of the 12-team playoff to begin with. All right, so let's go and get into top 25 teams. This is our final top 25 of the season. We haven't done this in, a couple of months now. So Tim, I'm going to start with you. Let's see what your top 25 looks like.
Obviously, Indiana 1, Miami 2, reluctantly. Ole Miss 3, Oregon 4, Ohio State 5, Georgia 6, Notre Dame 7, Bama 8, Texas Tech, and Texas. So with those, go back, Bryson. Thank you. With those, again, I thought Ohio State, not for nothing, I was really messing with Ohio State and Oregon. I kind of thought Ohio State was the better team, but just based on the playoff, how that fell, I had them there. And then Notre Dame, I put at 7 just because, let's be honest, I feel like Notre Dame would have been a very competitive team. I don't think they would have beaten Indiana, but I think they would have been a very competitive team. And the way Bama looked going, with that Oklahoma game and, even the subsequent game they played, they didn't look good. Texas Tech, got killed. And then, I had Texas at 10. Based on their victory, and then A&M frauds, have been all season. I was hiding it for, I didn't want to believe it, but they were frauds. Navy at 12. I think, listen, no one talks about Navy. I've been talking up Navy all season, and I truly believe that they should finish in the top 12. Then Oklahoma had that big lead against Bama and then blew it. So, frauds. BYU, Vanderbilt, Virginia, Iowa, Utah, Georgia Tech, Tulane at 20. And then to round it off, I got Houston, Illinois, USC, Michigan, and JMU, who actually JMU put up a good fight against Oregon. So that's
basically it sounds like from what I'm hearing this, Tim, you view a lot of SEC teams as frauds. Are you starting to come to my side of the table that the SEC ain't quite what it's cracked up to be? Or
well, let's put it this way. I think, yes, I think the SEC, it does have a lot of fraud teams, but if you compare, and this is how I look at it, if you compare every single school in the SEC to every single school in the Big Ten, obviously the Big Ten has a handful of schools way up here, whereas the SEC has a lot of schools right around here, and then more Big Ten teams are right around here. So
that's fair.
To me, listen, I'm not saying that the Big Ten as a whole is a trash conference, but what I am saying is I think the SEC has a lot of above average schools, where with the Big Ten, there's a wider discrepancy.
There is. And especially
that's what I mean by, to me, the SEC is still the best conference in college football because a lot of schools are above average. It's just, they play each other. So what are you going to expect?
I mean, it's a deeper conference. I think what changes the dynamic completely is the fact that, the Big Ten did acquire the best Pac-12 schools, obviously, with Washington, USC, not really UCLA, but then Oregon. And by the way, none of those teams have won yet. So, it's USC crushed the recruiting class, so only time will tell if they can get it done. Okay, let's go and shift to Arthur's top 25. Arthur, the floor is yours. What do you got?
All right, so I got to go with IU at number 1, the national champions. Miami, I got to put them at number 2 for being there. Ole Miss, I got to put them at number 3. Very exciting team, proud of what they were able to do throughout the adversity because of their drama-filled coach. Number 4 in Ohio State. Listen, I put Oregon at 5 because you guys are ass kicked by Indiana. I'm not about to put respect on your freaking name for that. I'm sorry, I'm not. Ohio State over Oregon. I got to put Georgia in there. I got to put Texas Tech at 7. I don't like the fact that I'll have Alabama in here, but they were in the college football playoff, so I have to give them that respect. That's the only reason why they're in the top 10. Same with Oklahoma and same with Texas A&M. I'm going to give respect to you because you were in the college football playoff, but you just looked atrocious in the college football playoff, and I don't like the fact that they came out like that. Texas, I got to put them up, man. Listen, Arch Manning and this team, when he came back from injury, and they were all able to just stay afloat the rest of the season. He looked promising. This team looked promising. He played phenomenal in his last game. I'm pretty sure it was against Michigan. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what Arch Manning and this Texas Longhorn does next year. Hopefully he's going to be healthy throughout the entire season, and he'll be able to, we'll see, possibly strike up a Heisman campaign. Got to put Notre Dame in there because, yes, the respect, the disrespect of not having them in the college football playoff, and they are easily one of the best 12 teams this year. BYU, they shot themselves in the foot losing their last 2 games to Texas Tech, causing them to be out of the college football playoff. I was hoping they would be able to still be in there, but hey, drama field playoff as it usually is around this time of year. I got to put JMU at 14. Listen, they should definitely be at the bottom. Tim had them at 25, but again, I gotta give them that respect of being where they were at the end of the season. I put Virginia in at 15. Iowa, the way they were able to dominate their last football game, I gotta put them in the top 20. Vanderbilt, don't like the way they went out. I don't like the storyline surrounding them. Diego Pavia coming out of the Heisman moment and Heisman Trophy and losing that, and now you're just dealing with all of this backlash because now you're off field. personality and stuff is showing out instead of what's talked about on the field. And now people are talking about, well, I'm glad he didn't win the Heisman Trophy, because if he did, he would have been like, nah, man, you drew too much negative attention to yourself. Instead, you should have just worried about trying to win your bowl game, and you didn't. Illinois, they end up winning their bowl game. I got to give them respect. I don't have Navy as high as Tim did, but I do have them in my top 20, and I have Utah Utes rounding out the top 20. And then I got to put Tulane at 21, Houston at 22, USC at 23, Michigan at 24, and Georgia Tech at 25. These teams finished rough, in the last part of the season, except for Tulane. But, I mean, it was nasty, man. But, hey, kudos to them for still making my top 25.
It wouldn't be the season 1 finale of the Saturday Morning Tailgate if I didn't say the fact that, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt losing to Iowa was a very beautiful thing to see. It really was. And just listen, I said it on Carving It Up. It kind of went semi-viral on the channel, and I maintained it today. I have never seen one player's image without a serious crime having been committed, having shifted in a 48-hour span the way it did with Diego Pavia. And but by the way, we talk about guys staying in college football forever. He was in the same recruiting class as 2019. So that would have been
he was 2019.
2019, yeah, he was at the community college or the military's college before he went to New Mexico State, and then before he went to Vandy. So this is year 6 for him.
No,
that's bad as Carson Beck, though.
Not as bad as Carson Beck, to be fair.
Carson Beck is grown, bro. Carson Beck is grown.
No. I mean, listen, his teammate, the phenomenal, by the way, Malachi Toney, was 11 years old when Carson Beck started college. What are we doing?
Crazy stat, bro.
This kid was he starting middle school? Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? That's a messed up system. All right, let me get to my top 25 here. Obviously, Indiana, number 1 team in the country. They were the best team from start to finish in college football. Miami, number 2. Kudos to them. For doing what they did, obviously, with going undefeated against ranked teams, being able to get the job done, only losing by 6 to the Indiana Hoosiers in the national championship game. I did put Ohio State at 3 for the simple fact that, listen, defending national champions crushed everybody all the way through. They lost by field goal to Indiana, and obviously, again, they got blown up by Miami, but it's like, oh, your 2 losses were to the 2 best teams. And Ohio State's going to be back next year. I expect Julian Saints to make a big-time leap, and especially with my guy Jeremiah Smith coming back. That team's going to be fantastic once again in 2026. Ole Miss Rebels, listen, I'm going to echo what Arthur said. The fact that this team was able to do what it did, in terms of the Lane Kiffin departure at the time that did, again, it's a messed up situation with the college football schedule that this situation should be even allowed to happen. Trinidad freaking Chambliss, the playmaker, being able to step in, as he started the year as the backup quarterback, came from some school nobody's ever heard of, leads Ole Miss to the brink of a national championship, losing very close to the Miami Hurricanes. I think this kid really improved his draft stock in a quarterback draft that outside of Fernando Mendoza, kind of weak. Oregon Ducks are at number 5. Dante Moore's coming back for another year. I wouldn't be shocked to see them at the number 2 spot. At the number 2 spot in next year's college football rankings list. Oregon's excellent. Dan Lanning's excellent. Listen, they lost to a better team. What can you say? Georgia Bulldogs at number 6. This is actually back-to-back years, folks, with the Georgia Bulldogs, or technically now, I guess 3 straight years, where Georgia has not won a college football playoff game, so going to need to try and bounce back. I want to see a little bit more from Kirby Smart's defense next year, but still an excellent team, and Gunnar Stockton has a bright future. Alabama at number 7. Again, they did play one of the toughest schedules in college football, and they did, to their credit, down 17-0, come back and beat Oklahoma and Norman. It's nothing to sneeze at. Texas Tech at 8. Listen, I really, really did think that this was a team that could win a playoff game and maybe give a team like an Indiana, for example, some problems in a semifinal game, but their offense did next to nothing against Oregon. Texas Tech, Big 12 champions at 8. Listen, I know this feels disrespectful to have them over multiple playoff teams. I don't care. What I saw from Texas at the end of the year, Longhorn fans should be absolutely ecstatic about the future of this program going to next season. Arch Manning's development, beating Texas A&M in the final game of the regular season, beating Michigan in, I guess it was the Outback Bowl or whatever, when Arch was utterly sensational. This is one of the most talented teams in the country. Listen, if not for the Florida loss, they would have been in the playoffs. Like that's the, my guy Tim called it a fake top 10 win for Florida. From that point on to the end of the season, Texas improved drastically over the course of the end of the year. Texas A&M at number 10, to echo something else Tim said, absolute frauds. And when Texas A&M, well, the first moment I knew, like, oh, okay, this team's got a little little fraudulent written on them. When you're down 4 touchdowns at home at College Station to freaking South Carolina, that's a problem. And A&M got what was coming to them, losing to the Miami Hurricanes in the first round at home. To my next 10 teams, Notre Dame at number 11. Again, if the playoff format was fair, Notre Dame and Miami would have gotten in. And like I said earlier, we would have had a BYU versus Vanderbilt versus Texas discussion. Regardless, Notre Dame they finished the season, went on a 10-game winning streak, didn't really beat anybody, but still, Marcus Freeman's a great coach, Fighting Irish at 11. Oklahoma at 12. It is amazing. John Mateer starts the season, first month. It's like, oh gosh, this is a Heisman candidate. Injures his thumb. We were on it on this show, came back way too freaking early against Texas in the Red River rivalry game. Kind of screwed Oklahoma's season from there. Kudos to them for making the playoff. I know this is going to shock people. I've got Vanderbilt at 13. They still won 10 games in the SEC. Diego Pavia and that offense, struggled against Iowa and gave up 34 points to Iowa, which Iowa. When's the last time Iowa scored 34 points against a Power 4 team? 10 years ago? It's unbelievable. BYU at 14. Excellent team. They just lost Texas Tech badly twice. Utah at number 15 finished the season strong. Iowa at 16. Again, they also finished the season strong in the Big Ten, beat Vandy in the bowl game. USC at 17. I didn't really put much into their loss against TCU in their bowl game. I think USC next year is going to be a problem in the Big Ten, especially with Maava coming back at quarterback. USC had the best recruiting class in the country. Lincoln Riley's got really something really building in the right direction there. Navy at number 18. Tim's been on them all year. I think Navy had an excellent season at the American Conference. Would have been fun to see them in the playoff had it broken their way. Virginia at number 19. Again, you want to talk about fraudulent. The fact that this team and Duke was in the ACC title game, please. But Virginia did earn the right to be in their conference title game. Tulane at number 20. And then the final 5, Michigan at number 21, Illinois, TCU. I liked how they finished the season. James Madison, and just to piss my guy Tim off, Duke at the number 25 spot. Listen, they were the ACC champions. They won a Power 4 conference. What can I say? It's credit grows where credit is due. The Duke Blue Devils round out my final top 25. You got any reaction to that, Tim?
I do. Frauds.
There's a lot of frauds on this list, man. I'm telling you.
There are a lot of frauds on this list.
How many? Listen,
college football frauds.
How many frauds won a conference championship game? I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what happened.
I want 2 T-shirts made. One that says "Jail the Refs." The second one, frauds.
Okay, you know what? We need the fraud shirt has got to have some programs on. So we got to have A&M, we got to have Duke, we got to have all of Tim's hated programs on there.
Not even hated, just put frauds, then the college football year, and then we'll put all the logos.
Kind of like how they give the T-shirts to the national champions and conference champions, just give it to the front. Wow, that's I feel like that would put that in the shredder. A few comments from our guy Patrick Brown. He says Carson Beck Wentz. Dadgum, that's not a terrible comparison actually. He says hope everyone's staying warm. Make sure you have what you need for the winter storm. The winter storm's gonna be crazy across the country this weekend, so definitely everybody stay warm. And he says IU is Oregon's kryptonite. They can't figure them out by any means. Hopefully in 2026, third time is the charm. Listen, that was the first moment we knew Indiana was good. When they go to Autzen and completely outplay Oregon in the fourth quarter, it's like, okay, wow. I don't think any of us thought that they would run the table the rest of the year, but still, that was kind of the first moment where you pay attention to that program. Okay, before we get out of here, obviously, at the end of shows on the Saturday Morning Tailgate, what we would normally do is say, okay, let's predict the 12 or 14 best games in college football. Well, there's no games until August, so we got to give some bold predictions now. I'm going to start with you, Tim. We're each going to give 2 bold predictions for the upcoming season. Tim, your first bold prediction is what?
My first bold prediction is that Florida's going to be in the college football playoff next year.
Whoa. Arthur, does that sound like a homer to you?
I'm going to have this. Oh, that is. Who are y'all going to get?
Let's not forget that Mario Cristobal, Kirby Smart, a ton of the coaches that we play, Steve Sarkisian, all said before and after the games against us that we were one of the most talented rosters in college football.
No, true. I'll give you that.
We just need an ass kicker as a coach, and that's what Jon Sumrall seems to be.
Oh, I think Sumrall's going to do good. I think that was a good hire, to be honest with you. The problem is that one of the most talented roster we played lost badly at home to a Tennessee team that didn't beat a team with a winning record. And I say that as a Vols fan, but like that was, you know. And by the way, Arthur, were you here when Tim sang Rocky Top?
I did. I was.
You want to make up for it, or have you paid off the bet?
I think I know the tune to Rocky Top?
Oh, man, everybody knows the tune to Rocky Top. It's when teams go to Knoxville, they blare at their practice fields all week. Like, no one doesn't know that song.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. All right. You know what? We'll let you get away with that lie. Arthur, your first bold prediction for 2026 is?
My first bold prediction? My first bold prediction.
Just shoot from the hip.
Yeah. If North Carolina doesn't have a winning season next year, I think Bill Belichick is gone.
Oh, I think that's completely on the.
That's not a bold prediction.
I mean, it's not that, but although again, I think it's on the board. Belichick's gone in a week or so. Like I think. Do you think he maybe is in the running for the Bills? No. Okay.
No. Bills? Hell no.
I'm just saying. Get back to the Patriots.
There were 10. There were 10 open. There were in our 10 open positions in the NFL, and Belichick's name has not been mentioned once.
No. Hey man, no. Nobody want Bill. All respect to him. He's the GOAT. Nobody want Bill. If people wanted Bill, he would get calls. He would get calls, dog. Like, come on.
All right, my bold prediction for 2026, and I think Tim is going to hate this. Arthur may like it. Tennessee will have the best defense in the SEC next year. And here's why I say that. You have some of the returning starters coming back like Arian Carter, but number one and first and foremost, Jim bleeping Knowles as the defensive coordinator. Arthur, you know very well, a former DC at Ohio State, did a solid job at Penn State, was the interim head coach for the last half of the season, brought a bunch of Penn State guys with him, pass rushers, corners, the whole bit. Tennessee's been very active in the transfer portal, trying to upgrade that side of the ball, making sure that they don't have to win shootouts 38-35 like they had the last few years. Josh Heupel's going to have the offense taken care of. Jim Knowles going to fix the defense. Tennessee, best defense in the SEC in 2026. That's my first bold prediction for next year. Tim, your next one is what?
So just to piggyback off of my first bold prediction, Florida being in the college football playoff, let's not forget, we kept Jaden Baugh. We kept Wilson. We kept Vernell Brown III. We kept LJ McCray. We kept our top tier guys. And not for nothing, the reason why reportedly, allegedly, that DJ Lagway left is because Jon Sumrall told him that he's going to have to compete for the job, and he didn't want it. He didn't want to compete. So, you know what? If that's your mentality, love you, mean it, but peace.
Adios.
So, my second bold prediction is the SEC will win the college football playoff next year.
Okay. Do you have, I'm not asking you to pinpoint one specifically, but list 2-3 teams you think are in that discussion? I don't put you in the spot, but it's just like teams that are in there. I mean, because obviously, Kentucky's not winning the national championships. Like, just throw out a couple programs.
I think, let's put it this way. I think Texas is going to be one of those teams. I think Florida could be one of those teams. I'm not saying that we will. I'm just, throwing that out there.
I guess if your first bold prediction is
they make the college football playoff, why not?
I get it.
Right?
Might as well go all in, Tim.
I get it.
Is just get in, just get into the dance. That's all you need to do. Just get into the tournament, and then all hell breaks loose from there. No, but Texas, Florida, Georgia, Bama. I think you're gonna get it's my big question actually. So that's one. Not to make a third.
Sure,
but
feel free.
I don't think that Lane Kiffin and LSU are gonna be good together.
That was my first bold prediction out, so to speak. I was thinking about that. And actually, our guy Patrick's in the comments. LSU and if we can pull this up, LSU and Lane Kiffin, the pressure is on them for them to win it all. Yeah, if Lane Kiffin's logic was going to LSU gives me a better chance to win a natty than a team that was literally in the playoff when he left, and without him was that close to making a natty.
And not for nothing, imagine if Ole Miss had their entire coaching staff, which is one of the reasons why I don't like Miami as number 2, because if Ole Miss had their entire staff, who's to say that Ole Miss doesn't beat Miami?
Sure. No, that's completely fair. Arthur, your second bowl prediction is what?
Since we're talking about teams going to be in the college football playoff, I think it's a long shot, but they played very good this season. I like what I'm seeing from them, and I feel like the greats of the old, especially when you look at guys like Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, now they're supporting them. I think USC has a chance, bro, to be in the college football playoff.
I actually agree with you on that. I think USC is going to have a great year in 2026.
Hold on. Matt Leinart?
Yeah.
Leinart.
Leinart, yeah. Well, he does be lying.
Well, I laugh when, watching the Patriots, like, everyone's like, oh, Kayshon Boutte. No, Kayshon Booty. Like, Booty. Come on.
Because they don't want to say the real one. They won't say it.
Booty, rocking everyone.
Bowl prediction for 2026 is Arch is going to win Heisman. Texas is going to win the Natty. All right, I'm going out on a limb right now. Arch is going to have a big 2026. God, that's funny, Tim. All right. With that, season 1 in the books, ladies and gentlemen, of the Saturday Morning Tailgate. We will be back next season. Tim, great stuff. Arthur, great stuff. Appreciate everybody for tuning in over the course of this very fun college football season. Here's to an even better one in 2026. Cannot wait. Hopefully the Vols win the Natty and the Gators go 0-12. That's all I got to say. But hope everyone has a great summer, and hopefully we come back in 2026 with even more things to come on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Have a great week. Have a great summer. Stay warm out there. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.
God bless.